Hi everyone, it's the Math Sorcerer here with Chegg. In this video, we're going to be discussing the rectangular coordinate system and basic graphing. Let's go ahead and do an example. The question says to plot the points in the Cartesian plane. We have 4 points. The first point is 2, -3. The second one is 4, 1. Then we have the point -3, -1. And lastly, the point -2, 3. And we are going to plot these very carefully. Let's work through it. Solution. The first thing you want to do is draw a picture of the Cartesian plane, which is also often called the XY plane. So you draw a vertical line, and that vertical line is your y-axis. And then you have a horizontal line like this. This is called your x-axis. Then you usually put arrows at the ends like this to indicate that it goes on forever. Every ordered pair, that's what these are, they're called ordered pairs or points, has a very specific form. It has the form x, y. So the first number you see in the ordered pair is called the first coordinate. It's also called the x-coordinate, and the second one is called the y-coordinate. So to plot 2, -3, we start at the origin, which is the point 0, 0, right here in the middle. And because x is 2, we just count and we go right 2. So we do 1, 2. And then because y is -3, we go down. So 1, 2, 3. So x is positive, so we go to the right. Y is negative, so we go down. Then you put a dot here, and that would be your ordered pair. And that's pretty good. It's clear to anyone who's looking at this that the point is 2, -3. If you want to add an extra level of clarity, you could label the point. So 2, -3. So 1 down. Let's do the next one. 4, 1. So x is 4 and y is 1. So because x is 4, we go to the right, 4 tick marks, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you go up 1 tick mark, 1. And there's the point 4, 1. Let's do -3, -1. So this time x is negative. So we go left 3, 1, 2, 3, and we go down 1. Boom, there it is. This would be the point -3, -1. Very nice. And last and certainly not least, we have -2, 3. So we go left 2 and up 1, 2, 3. We put a dot right here. This would be the point -2, 3. Those are our points. By the way, this region here, this is called the first quadrant. Okay, and this region here is called the second quadrant. This region down here is called the third quadrant. And this region over here is called the fourth quadrant. And this plane is called the Cartesian plane or the XY plane. Let's go ahead and do a different type of problem. Determine the quadrant of x, y. We have 3 parts, A, B, and C. Let's go ahead and work through these. Solution. So for part A, we're told that x is greater than 0 and y is less than 0. So x greater than 0 basically means that x is positive, and y less than 0 means y is negative. So let's draw a little picture here. Here's our Cartesian plane, here's x, and here's y. And so positive values of x are going to be over here on the x-axis, and negative values of y are going to be down here on the y-axis. So if x is greater than 0 and y is less than 0, we're going to be right here, in this quadrant here. And the answer here is quadrant 4. So the answer is 4. Part B. In this case, I'll draw the picture again. So here's x and here's y. So x is less than 0, that's going to be over here. Then y is less than 0, it's going to be down here. So there's our quadrant. This is going to be quadrant 3. And for the last one, here's x, here's y. So x is less than 0, so we're over here. And y is greater than 0, so we're up here. So we're right here. This is quadrant 2. The quadrants, again, just as a recap so you know them and you know what they're called. So here's the y-axis, here's the x-axis, x and y. So we have quadrant 1, quadrant 2, quadrant 3, quadrant 4. In quadrant 1, x is positive and y is positive. In quadrant 2, x is negative and y is positive. In quadrant 3, they're both negative, so x is less than 0 and y is less than 0. And in quadrant 4, x is positive, y is negative. And you don't really have to memorize, you just have to know that positive x's are over here on the right, negative x's are on the left. Positive y's are up top, negative y's are on the bottom. And so when you look at quadrant 1, you say, okay, there's positive x's and positive y's. Okay, boom, there it is. You look at quadrant 2, you say, oh, there's negative x's and positive y's. Okay, boom, there it is. You look at quadrant 3, you say, okay, negative x's, negative y's. There it is. You look at quadrant 4, positive x's, negative y's. There it is. Let's do one more example that involves some formulas. In our last example, we are going to find the midpoint and distance. We are given 2 points, the first one being 2, 3, and the second point is -1, 4. Let's go ahead and carefully work through this solution. We'll start by writing down the distance formula, which is d, and it's equal to the square root of, and basically you subtract the x's, square the result, add, subtract the y's, square the result. The formula is x sub 1 minus x sub 2, and that entire quantity is squared. Then you put a plus sign, and then it's y sub 1 minus y sub 2, and that entire quantity is also squared. You're basically subtracting the x's, squaring the result, adding, subtracting the y's, squaring the result. Now we have to identify x1 and y1. We can just pick our first point to be the point with coordinates x1, y1, and our second point will be the point with coordinates x2, y2. You can do it the other way. You can select 2, 3 to be x2, y2, and -1, 4 to be x1, y1, and you'll get the same answer. It doesn't matter which you pick. So d is equal to the square root of. So x1 is 2, so we have parentheses 2, and then minus, and then x sub 2 is -1, so we have another parentheses around the -1, and then parentheses, and that whole expression is squared. Plus, parentheses y sub 1 is 3, minus, and then y sub 2 is 4, and that's being squared. Okay, so d is equal to the square root of. So here we have a double negative because we have 2 minus -1. That becomes 2 plus 1, which is 3. So we get 3 squared plus, and then 3 minus 4 is -1. So we have -1 squared. So continuing up here on the right, we have that little d is equal to the square root of 3 squared is 9, then plus, and then -1 squared is 1. So we have d is equal to the square root of 10. That would be our distance. Good stuff. Now we just have to find the midpoint. So the midpoint formula is really easy to memorize. So it's parentheses, and you add the x's and divide by 2. So it's x1 plus x2, and all of that is divided by 2. And then you add the y's and divide by 2. So it's y1 plus y2, and all of that is divided by 2. All right, so x1 is 2. So this is parentheses 2 plus, and then x2 is -1. And all of that is being divided by 2. And then y1 is 3, and y2 is 4. And all of that is being divided by 2. So we have 2 plus -1, which is 1, so that's 1 over 2. Comma, and then 3 plus 4 is 7, so we have 7 over 2. And that would be the midpoint between these 2 points. I hope this video has been helpful, and if you feel like you learned some math, make sure to check out more videos on Chegg. Until next time, good luck.